So I would suggest that we start.
You're suggesting, or do we start or not?
Start now. Sit down.
Now we're talking.
Wait before you start.
Yes, please. Everybody who is interested can sign in. We will contact you. We have a lot of nice openings.
Contact your colleague.
So, guys, it's my pleasure today to see you here and to be able to host this wonderful meetup. This is now the third Berlin Postgres meetup, and we are searching for other organizations that would host meetup because because why not? We want to also to go and eat something else other than pizza. And Zalando is trying its best to support community, and this is one of these situations. Of course, I have to say that we are hiring. We are hiring a lot, and if you're interested, welcome. And we are all being photographed. So it's my pleasure to present Devrim. Actually, he had to come to the previous meetup, and the meetup was even called the meetup where Devrim comes. Then we had to rename it meetup where Devrim doesn't come. And we had actually a wonderful meetup without you. So now you have a chance to ensure that the high standards of this meetup are not fucked up.
No pressure at all.
Yes, bitteschön. So you are long-time developer, long-time commenter.
I have a slide for this.
Oh, okay. Then I go. Wonderful. Then, yeah.
So welcome. So it's always hard to give some talks at like 7:30 or whatever in the evening, because you would probably prefer having some time with your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, or son, whatever you have, or drink something. So thanks for coming here tonight, this evening anyway. It's going to be a short talk, like a few hours, depending on the questions, of course. Then tomorrow morning I'm going to work from here, so no worries. My name is Devrim. I again apologize for not being able to show up in the previous meetup because my employer asked me to go to solve another problem, which they thought I would fix in in 3 days, but I fixed it overnight. So still I had to cancel the flight, so I couldn't come here. I apologize for this. So I'm working for Enterprise DB. This is my Twitter account, and today's topic, as you know, is the PostgreSQL backup and recovery, and all the best practices and tool stuff. So when you have any questions, or if you have any questions during the slides talk, please raise your hand as soon as possible. Don't wait, otherwise you won't be able to listen to the rest. Okay, just ask your question whenever you want. Okay, and if you want to take a tattoo, photo of the tattoo, you can just visit me afterwards. Okay, thank you. Okay, so who is this guy? That's me. Probably you can't see my photo, but anyway, I'm using Postgres since 1998. Actually, not 9. It's a typo. I accidentally started using Postgres. In 1998, I was about to convert a Perl script to PHP and a database stuff. Okay, so it was Perl script working on text files, but I wanted to store the data into a database server. And I installed Red Hat 6 with Apache, MySQL, and PHP, like LAMP. But it didn't work. The reason is, first of all, it says MySQL cannot connect to socket TMP, MySQL, whatever. I saw the socket was there. I can connect to MySQL from the command line, but PHP cannot connect. Okay, then I gave up. And I was in university then, and in the IT department of the university, they were using a database called PostgreSQL, something that I couldn't pronounce, but anyway, probably it should be a good one. I installed PostgreSQL, and it worked, and I started using Postgres. So today I might be talking about the best practices on MySQL backup and etc. Well, it's not possible, but anyway, so that's how I started Postgres. Okay, and I'm responsible for the PostgreSQL RPM YAM repository. So if you are using any CentOS, Red Hat, Fedora, Scientific Linux, even Oracle Linux or Amazon Linux, whatever, the RPM-based stuff, I'm responsible for that one. I used to break websites before, but I don't break it anymore. They don't let me to do this. I'm living in Istanbul, Turkey. Well, my main washing machine is in Istanbul. When I return to home, I will wash my clothes and go to the other city then. Okay, so I'm supposed to live in Istanbul, but anyway. So, please, I'm going to pause this talk for 2 minutes. May I ask you to tweet about this again now by using 2 hashtags, please. And thanks for Zalando for hosting our meetup. They're doing a great job. And see?
You can use Zalando Tech.
I'm sorry,
actually.
Zalando Tech.
Zalando Tech. It's okay.
Can you please tweet? Please do it. Please tweet something. I'm going to retweet. I promise. Later on, not now. Okay. Please tweet.
I don't remember your Twitter handle.
If you want to give a mention, it's here. Thank you. It's PostgreSQL Zalando. Please tweet. Let's make some noise to our friends because we are doing something good in here. Okay. I'm doing it for free. Please tweet. Let's make some noise. The more we tweet, the more people will know about Postgres, and the more people will know about what we do in here. So we are having fun. Well, anyway. Okay, last 30 seconds, then I'm starting. Okay, so what's the backup? I'm asking you, what's the backup?
No one cares about backups.
So why are you here?
You want
Consistent copy of the data.
I'm sorry?
Consistent copy of the data in the database.
Consistent when it is tested. And per Murphy, it's never consistent. Anything else? Well, thank you. That was a good answer. What else? So let's start with, I think, what backups are not. Okay? For example, backups are not like this. Okay? This is called steak tartare. It's not backup. It's something, one of the worst things in my life. Don't ask. I'll play later. So what's a backup? It is a copy of your database. It may be a full copy of your database, maybe, or it may be a partial copy of your database. Okay? So it may be a schema, it may be the data, or it may be both. Okay? And we take backups because we want to restore them. Right? I mean, hopefully not, but probably we will need it one day. Okay? So to the same database or to a different database, depending on the problem or intention. It doesn't have to be a problem actually. And there are 2 types of backup. First, SQL level backup. Okay? You take create table, insert table, blah blah, like regular thing. Or The other type is the file system level backup. In Postgres world, it's called base backup. Thank you. So let's talk about the strategy first. Okay? The technical stuff is easy. Every time we go to the customer, they say we take a backup. Okay, perfect. How often do you take a backup? Or do you test your backups? Where is your backup? A few weeks before, one of my friends in Turkey called me because they had a problem with Postgres, etc. Well, unfortunately, we found everything. I looked at everything that he showed me, but there were no backups. So they had to restore something from very old, anyway. Then after going into production, they realized that they are taking a backup every day to a remote location. So taking a backup is all, of course, fine, but also make sure that you know what you are doing. So we need a strategy. This is a major issue. So where is the location? If you are taking your backup on the same machine, I would suggest you to find a new job. Or not. Don't ruin the other job. So just don't work anymore. Okay. Anyway, so if you are studying, so the location is important. But by the location, of course, I'm not meaning, well, have the server in Germany and have the backup in the United States. No. That would be the full disaster because we are going to spend too much time while transferring the data. Okay? So the location is important. Testing. Testing is like big data. Everyone has a big data, right? Everyone's data is big, but no one actually has the big data. Many people say we test them, but thanks, they don't. Otherwise, we wouldn't be making too much money from the Postgres consultancy. Don't do any testing, please. Don't take backups, right? Don't do any testing, and put it on the same machine if you do the backups. Okay, thank you. If you do this, we will make more money. See? And you will get more trouble. What about the cleanup? So I'm taking backup every day, perfect. Or refreshing the base backup every day, okay. But I don't care about the policy. I've been doing this over the last year or so. So eventually, we are using 30 terabytes of disk space. I don't think you are going to need too much, that old backup. So we have to clean up the old stuff at some point. You do?
No.
Why?
Thanks for buying more disks from BMC.
Oh, thank you, yeah. Yeah. Take more backups so that you will buy more storage from EMC. Perfect. Then we will make more money. Okay? So eventually do this. And replication. Is replication a kind of backup?
If you fast enough.
Depends. Right. If you have someone in the company who drops the master table, or the lookup table, or the core table, or a terabyte of data from your master machine, the replication will do the same. So replication is not a backup. It may be a backup if you don't drop your table or you don't delete the data. So if the machine goes down, it works. Okay? But anyway. And also don't forget you are taking the backup. That's important. Remember the story I told you? Okay. So any questions so far? Or any comments? Hello? Okay, perfect.
Well, I think restore is also an important part of this, because you need to decide on how much time you want to spend on the restore.
That's called testing.
Ah, okay.
This is called testing. So let's start with the SQL bit. By the way, how many of you are using Postgres in production right now? What's the stupid question in the Postgres meetup? Thank you. Okay, I just want to make sure that you are listening to me. Okay, so a SQL level backup is also called logical dump. Okay, it's called logical backup. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's a full copy of your database. It's a full copy of your database. It may be a schema, as I told before. It may be a data. It may be both. The main approach of taking the logical dump or SQL level dump, which is called PG dump in Postgres, is taking the snapshot of the database at the given time that you started taking the backup. to multi-version concurrency control, this is very easy for Postgres. So when you start the pg dump command, Postgres will get, when taking a snapshot, I'm not saying we create a full copy of your data to somewhere else. It compares the transaction IDs, it doesn't remove them until the backup is completed, so you always see the right version of the rows. So the backup file, the resulting file, is consistent as of the time that you started the backup. Let's say, in the cron job, we start the backup at 2 a.m. in the morning, in night or whatever. Okay? So even if it takes 4 hours to finish, even if it takes 4 hours to finish, the data is consistent as of 2 a.m. So if you restore from a pg dump file, you will have your database will be in the state as it is when it was in 2 a.m. Yes, please.
Where are the transactions stored, and if I would suppose there would be a long backup, which kind of reserve should I think of in order to keep all the updates during the backup? Is it in memory, on disk, some table, whatever?
You, as the DBA, doesn't have to do anything. It is the Postgres responsibility of keeping everything.
What is growing?
Right. It keeps the older versions of the data on the disk. Normally, vacuum is responsible for cleaning up the old tuples, dead tuples. And it is not done. It's not done.
Okay.
So they are kept. So of course, there is an overhead for when you are taking a long backup, because it's going to keep the older versions of the database, and especially if your database is write heavy, then it's going to be a bit larger than usual.
So it's vacuum which is not performed.
Right, right. Well, vacuum will work for the tables which has been completed, okay, but not for the ones which are not being done. So, but eventually it's not going to run. Eventually it's not going to run. Any more questions, please?
So basically, sorry, we would have the backup being double sized than the actual database, right?
No.
So
Backup size will be the exact same size of the database, probably even less, because we are not dumping the indexes, or we are not dumping the other stuff. So the resulting dump file will be smaller than the data file. Because we just dump the data. We don't dump the index values. We just dump the create index statement, that's all. But eventually when you restore it, of course it will be larger than the backup file again. Questions, comments? Okay. So, pgdump is your friend if you are taking the SQL dump. Okay? If you are taking SQL dump, by the way, I'm controlling my slides over here. Don't think that I'm just doing something else.
Tweeting.
Tweeting. Hello, darling. How are you? Hello, Daddy. So no. Okay. So I'm just controlling the slides. So it may be plain or custom. Or some people say compressed. I'm not against it. Well, I also say compressed anyway. So it may be plain or custom. Plain means dump everything in the text mode. Okay, text mode, so you can see it. But in the compressed mode, it's kept in a custom format, which is very beneficial, especially during the restore. Because when you get the dump in the custom format, eventually you will be able to list the contents, okay, or restore a single relation, or a few, or something, or index, or table, whatever. Or, much better, you will be able to restore the data in parallel. For example, if you have like 4 CPUs and 4 drives, you can have 4 jobs to restore the data, which will speed up the restore process. Yes, please.
What's the best approach to do differential backups? Because if it's a custom binary format, it's kind of useless for usual diffs.
We will talk about this later on. Okay. So pgdump works per database, or per table, or per schema, which is namespace. So if you have more than one, probably you will have more than one database on your system. you need to run pgdump separately for each database instance. I'm sorry, for each database. Okay. And starting 9.3, we have the option for parallel dump, which is defined by fd directory format. So instead of keeping everything in a single file, it can use multiple CPUs to dump the data to the drive. It doesn't parallel. It's going to be probably faster than doing it with one thread. Okay? So this is new in as of 9.3, like 2 years before anyway. Okay. The only thing, no global objects. So no roles and no table spaces are dumped with pgdump. So you won't have the users and you won't have the table space information. I'm not talking about the data in the table space. I'm talking about the create table space, full location, blah, blah. Okay? So that single sentence, SQL sentence, I'm talking about just that one. Okay? So these are not dumped by pgdump. It's going to be dumped with something else. Questions, comments, anything? Thank you. Okay. So dump everything. Let's do the pgdump all thing. Pgdump all dumps everything on the cluster. For example, if we have 10 databases in the cluster, it's going to dump everything in a single text file. There is no way to compress, like custom, there is no custom format in pgdump all. Okay? And there is no way to restore a single database from pgdump all. You dump everything, you have to restore everything. The only benefit probably would be pgdump all can dump only the global objects. Remember the previous slide. Roles and table spaces. So if you run pgdump all with -g, stands for global, it dumps just the global objects, few lines, roles, password, uses roles and then table space information. Okay. It's going to dump everything in a single small file. Then you can use it along with dump that you took with pgdump. First, restore the global objects, then restore your database or whatever you want to restore. Questions, comments? Yes, please.
Is there already a nice well-made wrapper script for pgdump to emulate pgdump all behavior? Like dump all the tables in all the databases plus the global object?
You can write a simple shell script.
Yeah, but I don't
Get the list of the database. What? With PSQL, get the list of the databases which are not template databases.
Yeah.
Select .name from pg database, blah blah, and for each database run pgdump in parallel.
I could do this.
Yeah.
Or I could use something which has which some other person has already written, because I know there are at least 5 million copies of such a script out in the whole world.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So free open source project idea.
Yeah. Someone might have written, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about pros and cons of pgdump. Okay. Pros, it always works. Trademark rules. It always works. I mean, unless it's not corrupt, it always works. Yes, please.
This custom compressed format is also compatible between all major versions, or is there?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
It's pgdump restore dependent.
Yeah, I think if you take the dump with the greater version, for example, if you are running 9.3 and 9.4, if you take the pgdump with 9.4, then probably you will be able to restore to 9.4. But I'm not sure if you can restore to 9.3. I'm not sure. I don't know. But you should use always the larger version if you want to restore to the next version. That's the thing that I remember.
In most cases.
Yeah, in most cases, of course. So you also have the option for parallel backup. As I told before, with pgdump, you can use multiple CPUs to dump the data, starting with 9.3. Yes, please.
How does it work with a SQL dump, so the text dump, when it writes multiple files? And then
It doesn't, in the directory format, within the parallel dump, it is like compressed files, compressed format, with separate file names.
For
So each
table
relation,
or for each
each relation has its own single file in a directory, and also edit with a table of contents.
In other words, if you just have one big table per example, not speed it up.
Yeah, right. And with that one, you can have the ability to dump and restore specific tables and schemas. And cons, as we discussed, the snapshot stuff. So eventually, the maintenance overhead will happen if you have a large database. Okay? And there is no incremental option. With pgdump, it is consistent as of the time that you start the backup instance, period. Okay? Now you got your answer. Okay.
You can probably do a diff, but it's kind of
Plain text dump
stupid, yeah.
Where do you work?
No, I will never do that.
Yes, thanks for your data.
Never say never.
Well, actually, if you find the project MySQL backup, there is a differential option, and they do exactly the diff. It's stupid.
I'm sorry? So what should we do? Okay. You should consider taking the file system level backup, as we are going to talk about right now. Okay. So it is the file system backup means file system level backup of the running Postgres cluster. By the way, I forgot to tell. With pgdump, while you are taking the database dump, it is called hot backup, because you can take the backup while the database is running. And we keep the consistency with one multi-version countries control. This is the same for the file system level backup. Of course, we are now not talking about SQL level or text level stuff. Now we are talking about the binary level backups, because the data files are always binary, right? They are binary. So we are taking what's available on the file system. Of course, there are a few problems with this. First, even though I hate to use backup mode because it's an Oracle word, okay, now I can continue. So I paused after saying Oracle so that I can just rest for a while without doing some saying some bad words anyway. So we put the per the manual page of in Postgres PG base backup. It says you put database in backup mode. Okay. So actually we also do the same. Even though I hate to say this, the reason is when you put the database in backup mode, actually you don't change the behavior of the database. You just, in Postgres, you just tell Postgres that, hey, I'm taking a file system level backup from you. That's all. Okay? So it checkpoints and does blah blah something else. Anyway, we will talk later. Another thing, it takes a backup of entire cluster. So when we are talking about the file system level backup, we are not talking about dumping a single database or single stuff in a way. I think it was 2010, I sent an email to Hacker's mailing list, whether we can do it or not. Because Sybase, when I was working for my previous employer, Sybase came to visit us and asked me to migrate our database from Postgres to Sybase. That was an exciting stuff anyway. But what they told in 2010 to me was very similar to what Postgres does. They even use some words that we also use. I don't remember the exact terminology right now, but it was very similar. Anyway, but what they do different from us is they have separate transaction log streams for each database instance, plus a general, or they call it global, I think. I don't remember the exact word, so sorry about this. They have a global stream which includes information from each cluster, a smaller one. Okay? If we had this, but I'm not sure, so I couldn't catch the latest improvements in this area. But maybe, I don't know, if someone knows it, I mean, they can help me in this case. The logical application, which is like new in nowadays in Postgres, may help us to dump to get the file system level backup. But I'm not sure about this. Okay, so the file system level backup uses the streaming replication protocol, which is available in 9.1 and upwards. Okay, so this one also allows taking backups from the standby server. So if we are talking about the replication environment, you have the master, you have the streaming replication standby. You can also take file system level backups from the standby machine, thanks to the streaming replication protocol. Okay. So is anyone using any version less than 9.1 in here? Which version? Which version?
9.0.
9.0. You?
8.4. RC1, right?
I'm sorry?
8.4.
8.4.
Sorry.
Are you going to upgrade?
Sorry.
Are you going to upgrade?
I wish. Our IT says no. Just
Cool, I love these companies. they make us more money. Let me give you a business card. Anyway, you?
8.4.
I'm sorry?
8.4.
8.4, oh.
Yeah, but we're planning to upgrade. You have been at our place.
I know. Anyway, so if you are using something greater than 9.0, just a reminder for everyone, 8.4 is out of support. 9.0 is going out of support towards the end of this year. So the minimum version you should be using right now is 9.1. But of course we have a great 9.4 release which has been broken always. And 9.3, I think it was fixed recently, hopefully, the multi-exec issues.
Bleeding edge.
Right, it's the bleeding edge. Right.
It's already out, though.
Right.
Who cares?
So, as compared to SQL level though, okay, there are some cons for the file system level backup. First one, you have to stick to the exact Postgres major and probably minor version. Okay? And you also have to stick to the same architecture during restore. If you are taking, let me give an example, which I think there was a big discussion in the one of the Postgres mailing list a few months before. Someone upgraded their standby database from 6.4 to 6.5. As far as I don't remember the versions, but anyway, okay. Then they reported some index corruption with Postgres because of the GDC changes. Okay, even on the same Red Hat release, 6.4 to 6.5 may make some problem, may create some problems. So make sure that you restore to the same operating system, same architecture, same patch level. Even, for example, you can't use file system level backup from Debian to Windows. I was kidding. I mean, who's using Windows anyway? Okay. So there are 3 steps. There used to be 3 steps, but in the background there are still 3 steps. First, it runs a function called pgstart backup. It also has a parameter for the label of the backup. So pgstart backup tells Postgres that it's going to take backup from the file system level. Okay. So when you run pgstart backup, it checkpoints. It flushes all the dirty buffers from the shared buffers to the disk and makes it consistent as of the time that we are starting our base backup. Then we do the file system level backup and then we issue pgstop backup. Okay? So, do you see any flaws in here, any problems in here, in this logic? Remember, database is still running. Yes, please.
Quantum.
No, you are not answering. You have a Postgres t-shirt. You know the answer. No, go on, please.
One has to really make sure that pgstop backup is called at some point, because otherwise all data will accumulate and not track them down.
That's correct. What else? Assume that, okay, assume that we give all three comments. There is a problem in here. We are missing something.
The next paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. it was over there. So, assume that, let's say you have three tables, okay? You started the backup. Since we are talking about the file system level backup, it's not Postgres, Postgres is not taking the snapshot. So you first copy the table one to the backup site. Let's say this is the user's table, okay? While taking the backup, some people registered, which is not included in the backup. And in the second one, you take the products table, and the third, it is the sales table. So while taking the sales table, you are taking a backup of some users which did some shopping, but it's not included in the first file because it's not transactional from the Postgres point of view. So Postgres doesn't know about the consistency of the database. However, that's why we have the start backup and stop backup. When you want to restore from the backup, we tell Postgres knows that this is inconsistent. I mean, the backup is inconsistent itself. But if we have to enable archiver, means archiver process archives the transaction logs to the remote location. Okay? So Postgres is going to close the gap of the missing data or like let's say inconsistent data by checking the transaction logs and replaying them. So it's going to say restoring the log, restore the logs, restore the logs. It's going to do some restore process based on the number of transactions that you made since the base backup. And eventually, of course, if you have all the transaction log files, you will have a consistent database. Okay? So make sure that you have the continuous archiving. You have the continuous archiving of your database. Any questions so far? Yes, please.
This means you have, at the end you have the database situation at the end of the whole process, right?
Right. That's correct.
From the beginning, but from the end.
Right. That's correct. That's what you also said. So if you don't issue the PG stop backup, it's not going to be useless. Plus, the database will be recovered first, at least to that point. Of course, if you have more transaction logs, it will keep replaying those transaction logs. Okay. So, what about the storage snapshot? Assume that you have a great EMC product, or whatever. Thank you. 20 euros, please, for each EMC word. Alternatively, if you have a reliable storage, you can take the atomic snapshot of the database files by the help of the storage techniques. Okay, this is doable, but first you have to take snapshot of all data files, including transaction logs, everything, table spaces, whatever in the data directory. Okay, whatever you have in the Postgres cluster, take everything in an atomic way. Of course, it is not reasonable for the large databases.
What is large? Petabytes.
Let me give you an example. No, let me give you a real example. So, what's large for you?
Petabytes probably?
No, forget about it. Let's talk about
What
something.
is large for you? Come on.
I've seen 5 terabyte Postgres database, which is becoming a bit unwieldy, but manageable.
Okay, so let me talk about one of our customers at London.
Yeah.
They're a bank, and they did the smallest database is 4 terabytes. Okay, I went there for a visit, for a regular visit. So I know the number of servers they have, but on the list they have another one. I saw that they have another one. So actually, well, I think you have a new one. So did you migrate it before telling us what happened? Oh wait, that was a small database. They said it's just for 500 gigs. So it depends on, okay? It depends. So how you feel the large database. I have a website, my personal website, and it is a real huge database, which is 160 megabytes. Because it's keeping the data over the last 13 years. Who downloaded whatever or who visited what's done. So for me, it's a large database. But seriously saying, the concept is like no less, it should be at least a terabyte. But for the specific customer, they can take a snapshot because of they have hundreds of terabytes of this space already. So it all depends. Okay, the answer is it depends. Yes, please.
But it also means one needs to keep all the data on the same position, including X-logs and table spaces.
On the same storage.
No?
No, because storage can do this.
Depends on the storage solution, because you've got like big EMC boxes which take a block level snapshot where you can say, okay, I want to have a disk device in my server which reflects the state of the file system of like 2 weeks ago. And then you can just start a PostgreSQL with the data library and continue from there. And as long as you have only one table space, atomic snapshots can be easily done with storage.
Yeah, one can do, of course, using the file systems like ButterFS.
Yeah,
like
in production.
or XFS.
Are you using it in Zalando? If you do, I can
no.
ready to give my business card.
No, we don't. What do we have there? A pistol? That I could shoot myself? No, we don't. But we made experiments and it didn't work.
Okay, I'm kidding. So it's not reasonable. So we have something which is called PG-based backup. Prior to that one, we were suffering from. We weren't suffering, of course. We were running these 3 steps separately. But then someone who's supposed to be here today, but he was too lazy to come anyway. Magnus, yeah, Blame Magnus. So he wrote a tool which was supposed to do the first 3 things, but now it improved a lot over the last few releases. So prior to the PG, what we had before PG-based backup. First, we had to issue these 3 commands, okay? And the PG start backup command used to issue the fast checkpoint. The fast checkpoint means it used to dump everything from the shared buffers to the disks, means a large I/O. Another problem, okay? And there was no table space mapping before 9.4. So if you want to restore one of your table spaces to another mount point or another directory, it was impossible before 9.4. As I told you, the PG-based backup is also evolving, okay? And there were lots of stuff. But with PG-based backup, it does the backup using the streaming replication protocol. Again, available starting from 9.1. Okay? It can do a plain or compressed backup. I think by default it's plain, so it's very good for the replication setups. You run PG-based backup, it goes everything over, it puts everything over there. It also controls whether some of the settings are correct or not. Okay? You can have an option to specify transfer rate. I think it's in 9.3, starting in 9.3. So you can have a rate limit for the process if you want. So you don't have to use all the network for this. And in 9.4, starting 9.4, we have the table space mapping. Perfect. Okay? And you can also select between fast and speed checkpoints over time. Perfect. Okay? So it helps the DBAs a lot to take a breath. And finally, it enters and exits the backup mode automatically. So one single command does everything for you. One single command does everything for you. This is the PG-based backup engine. Okay. So now, until now, we talked about the infrastructure for taking the backups. Okay, of course, anyone can do their in-house solutions by writing some shell scripts or doing some monitoring and etc. And thanks to open source community or commercial companies, whatever, some people developed some wrappers around PG-based backup. One of the things that I love most, to be honest, is Barman. It's not the Barman. It is the backup and recovery manager, I'm sorry. It doesn't give you beer. Okay. It is the backup and recovery manager for Postgres. It is developed by Second Quadrant. And it's open source, written in Python, which is a win. So it can be used in multiple platforms, in Linux and Linux. Okay. It's portable between Debian and Ubuntu and Red Hat. It has really great features. For example, you can define retention period. How many backups are going to be taken for the for consistency? Anything you can control. Okay, you can control anything. Where to put the log files, where to put the. But if you want to compress the transaction log files, it's also available. You can compress the transaction log, archive the transaction log files, etc. And it's easy to configure. Like it has, I don't think it has no more than 25 or 30 configuration, but maybe less. I think it's even less.
Why are we not using this?
I'm sorry?
Because we build our own wrappers.
I told you. This is open source community.
More than one way to do it.
Yeah, there's always more than one way to do it.
And this was released not so long ago, as far as I remember. This
like 3 or 4 years before.
Yeah.
And it's easy to configure, human readable, understandable. Like unlike Oracle, I'm sorry, not Oracle. Unlike the Tomcat configuration file. Have you ever seen the Tomcat configuration file? It is the only place that XML might be readable, which is not. So anyway, that's the magic. That's the magic. So Barman does the file system level backup. It takes backup. Remember, file system backup. Take the backup of entire cluster. Okay, take the backup of entire cluster. It lists the backups. Okay, which backup do I have for the specific server? So in a single configuration file, you can configure more than one database machine to take the backup. So you can have a central backup environment, single point of failure. Okay, but still it's doable. Okay, and you can check the status of the backups, whether the backups are in a consistent state or not. Okay, and you can define the retention period. Take the backup every day, every night, and keep only 3 days worth of backup, for example. Then delete them. Okay, you can specify the policy around this, and it also has the ability to restore, means recover. It is defined by the recover parameter. So you say Barman recover blah blah. With the help of SSH and SSH keys, you can even restore to the remote machine with one single line. So Barman can also do this. You can also have pre and post hook scripts. For example, if you are running Nagios or such stuff, hey, I am taking backup. Hey, backup is completed. Backup is not completed. Okay, checking the status. So you can have some hook scripts by using Barman. And it also has the automated cleanup jobs by cron, which is installed by default. The cron job is installed by default. It does the cleanup every minute. So it compresses the transaction log files, etc. So which is fine. Okay. Any questions about Barman, the backup and recovery manager one? Okay. So what else? There is BART. Not Simpson one. Now this. Oh, you know what? We always choose verse names like Barman, BART, etc. Do you know the indexes in Postgres? Like gin. The next generation will be vodka. Right? The Russians. It's all about Russians anyway. So backup and recovery tool. It's called BART. It is developed and supported by Enterprise DB. It is not open source.
Skip the slide.
I'm sorry?
Skip the slide.
Why? We make money. Because enterprises want to use something supported by a company. It can still be open source.
What he said.
I mean, Postgres is open source.
No, advanced server is not open source.
What is not open source?
Advanced server. The enterprise, the Postgres plus advanced server.
Yeah, it's a close one.
Anyway, but I'm not here for talking about this. So it also uses the PG-based backup. It also has easy configuration. It has similar features with Barman. Okay. So I want to show you a diagram, which is actually it's for BART, but it's also same for the Barman. Okay. It doesn't matter. So just read it as BART and Barman. Okay. So you may have more than one database instances or more than one database servers. It doesn't matter. Okay? They can be separate machines. They can be an instance on the same machine. One machine, several instances, like 3 of them, etc. It doesn't matter. Okay? Then you can have a single backup machine or backup controller.
Or single point of failure.
It may not, well, it doesn't have to be single point of failure if you mount the file systems from other places. Okay? So, anyway. So, you can take the database backup from September 1, September 15, September 30, etc. So, every 15 days, you can take the base backup like this in a separate directory. Okay. So, you can use it with BART and Barman like this. So, what should be the policy? I mean, what happens if you take a base backup on the 1st and 15th of each month? Yeah.
Two backups in the
Okay, yeah, you will have only 2 backups in every 15 days. Of course, we will have the transaction log files. So we are not losing anything, right? But when it comes to restore, we have a problem. Let's say our database crashed on the 14th, like 13 days later after we got the backup. We will start first extracting the backup that we got on the 1st of September, then replay each transaction that has been made over the last 13 days. So eventually, it is probably going to take a long time. Of course, it's not going to take days, but it's going to take a real long time to replay everything.
Can't you just use your laptop? It's faster now.
Well, it's probably, yeah, it's faster. Well, it's not laptop, come on.
Yeah.
It's the space machine.
Yeah.
Anyway. Any questions? Okay. So I want to give you another open source project, which is PG Backrest. I didn't hear about this project until last month. I gave the same talk in London, in PG Day UK, and Magnus and Dave told me about PG Backrest. It is highly scalable backup solution. And it's written in Perl, okay? Portable!
Now, half of the audience should say, boom! Yeah! Again?
It's probably good, yeah. Perl.
And judge the age by the comments here.
And it has multi-threaded backup and restore for performance. It also has the checksums. It can also have the full differential and incremental backups. Yes, please.
And it also does compressed backups. I'm not sure if Barman or base backup do compressed backups.
BART can do,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure PG-based backup BART can do this because in BART you specify the option for PG-based backup.
Yeah.
But in Barman you cannot do this.
Yeah.
This is something that I also need.
Because I've been working with David a bit on PG Backrest, and he mentioned that the main differentiators were parallel operation and compression, because he also had some multi-terabyte databases which he needed to back up in time.
Yeah, I heard that for example, Josh Strait is also using this one for as a default backup solution nowadays. Okay, but it's apart from the fact that it's written in Perl, let's forget about this. I downloaded it, okay, and tried to use it before the conference. Okay. Now I don't have any hair in here. Yeah. The reason is, okay, seriously, people write good code, but no good documentation. And the tarball doesn't come with a sample config file. Please, it shouldn't be that hard to bring a sample config file for at least something minimal.
This was a weird figure out how to come on.
Anyway, okay.
I think there's still an open issue, improve documentation.
Right, right. So, people who use this like this a lot, okay? Probably it's like Bucardo. Do you know Bucardo? It's one of the replication solutions for Postgres, but only this endpoint can use this, because the authors.
It's a bit like Stockholm syndrome, if you invest so much time in it.
Okay, so what about the other commercial solutions? We have Zamanda, which is a Postgres agent for semantic net backup. Okay, it uses the XPSA API of net backup. It supports point in time recovery, and it also supports full and incremental options. Well, this is another. Well, you have some more options for the commercial stuff. Okay. Any questions? If the audience doesn't ask any questions, it means two things. Either they don't understand anything, or the speaker tells everything, so they don't have any questions. Well, this guy is explaining me a lot. I'm not saying I explained everything, so probably I'm sure you have some more questions. Just ask. I'm going to give a gift to the best question. Yes, please.
Have you tried to figure out how exactly these PG backrest is doing parallel restore?
I am going to make it work.
So you're still configuring the example config file?
Yeah, I'm looking for a sample config file. I tried to build an RTM, which includes a config file, but it didn't work, so I gave up.
This is sort of measure of future.
Yeah. Yes, please.
What's
Well,
the
you
best,
were waiting for the gift. To ask questions, yes, please.
what is the best way and strategy to back up transaction logs?
Say it again.
What is the best strategy and way to back up transaction logs?
Well, I don't have an answer. I mean, in terms of, you put the transaction logs with the archiver to the same area that you take the base backup.
Okay.
So that
But on a later stage, if I want to be sure that I could restore it on any moment in time, even between the backups.
I'm sorry, say it again.
If I would like to restore the backup on any moment in
Okay.
between of the backups,
You can do this.
could I just, if the server is crashed completely and
Okay.
someone's stolen it?
Okay. You first restore the base backup.
Yeah.
Create the recovery.conf file.
Yeah.
And in the recovery.conf file, there's a parameter called restore command. Point restore command to the transaction log archive directory. And then start the postmaster. Postmaster will restore everything and restore on the last available transaction log in the sequence.
So I think the question was how to actually back up the write-ahead.
Exactly. How do I get it on a copy of this transaction log somewhere else?
There are two mechanisms. One mechanism is the archive command of Postgres, which is triggered after each completed write-ahead log segment, which you can point to whatever command you want. Like Barman and Backrest both have an own command to archive these write-ahead logs, but you could also use like SCP to copy it away, or you could do an S3 upload.
Never do it.
And the other way, because this will only give you completed write-ahead log segments, the other way is to actually attach a streaming replication client, which then copies all the transactions as they happen away. And I think there's even a tool for this these days.
PG receive Xlog.
PG receive Xlog, which basically just takes the replication stream and saves files away.
Yep, that's the best answer. Thanks.
But yeah, whatever works and whatever you can maintain. There's more than one way to do it.
Or you can just write a fast script. Okay?
That's the consultant for you. Shell script for everything.
Yeah, shell script for everything. rsync export archive directory to the remote location.
Yeah.
Okay? And throw an error in case of a failure, or say system archive. Period. That's like just one of the simple ways. Or use barman.
Or backwards. Does it peak?
No, it's not.
There were some corner cases being discussed recently that it's not a good idea to use the archive command that doesn't do fsync of the file afterwards. So it's kind of
right.
So one should be careful. Just using CP is not always the best way to archive your Xlogs because
But fsync is flashing on a binary device. It doesn't make a difference on a
you
file
have to
system
sync
level.
the file when you do the
If you archive them locally.
If you archive them locally, it should be fine. Only in case of some, I don't know, storage solution archival.
I
Fsync is
think
needed.
it's the NFS which most lies.
Oh yeah.
It's the NFS which causes the problems.
Usually.
I think. Because NFS tends to lie to the kernel, even to the kernel.
Yeah, NFS tends to lie constantly. So.
Right. So it may be a problem if someone is using NFS. But for the regular file system, of course, calling an fsync should be easy. Just sync. Period. You're done. But yeah, the PG receive Xlog thing could also help recently. Okay. So let's continue. Always take backups. Lesson learned. Okay, always take backups, please. Or don't. Everyone has the freedom not to take backups. Die from here. Okay, or eat ice cream every day.
No, I work for a backup company.
You're right.
The lesson I learned is no one will ever ask you for a backup. They only ask for a restore.
That's right. That's perfect. So PG dump is not good for large databases. Why? Remember the customer that I mentioned you. Their largest database so far is 12 terabytes. Taking the dump takes 2 days, like 40 hours in a way. So it is, and they are bank. So they can't lose in a single second, but we are talking about 2 days of backup, so they just gave up. Okay? Now they are using the regular base backup thing for their critical databases. Everyone uses this, just do it. Okay? And of course, do the remote location. Take the backups on somewhere else. 4, which is critical, well-tested backups. Do not automate the tests. Do it manually. Do not automate the tests, please. Do it manually. Once a month, it doesn't matter. Do it manually. Spend some time on restoring the backup somewhere else. Otherwise, when you need them, they're not going to work. Always. I mean, it's not going to work, period. Thanks Murphy. It's going to fail. Because last time one of the system administrators has changed something for the data transfer, and they just blocked other stuff.
But that is, I don't know, we do it different, but if I remember correctly, we have one machine restoring all our backups every hour of every day. So I think
yeah, we have a machine that recovers all the databases as soon as it can, because it's only one machine and constantly recovering all the kind of dumps, and this way we, for example, found some inconsistency in some unique constraint thing, I don't know, so it makes sense to not only for testing your backups, but also finding some very strange corner cases in data corruption.
That's right.
So it always makes sense to automate it, but also not to forget to test it manually.
Of course.
Does it mean that you use pgdump, like SQL level backups?
yes.
Okay. Because otherwise you would have to stick up to
This is a good question, and to use pgdump on SQL level is very good for creating staging environments, for example. And it's very good for testing your data consistency.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any other practical meaning on the level of the SQL. Yeah.
I'm missing one point here. Monitor your backups.
Well, we could put it on the well tested.
No, backup is too old for me. Yeah, automatically with alert in my email.
Yeah.
What was your
Monitoring. Monitor your backups.
it lists the backups and checks states of the backups. So this will environment already.
Yeah, and then integrate it to your monitoring system.
Yeah.
So whenever your backup gets too old, for whatever reason,
Then you can define the retention period both environment and BART. So it deletes the like oldest backup automatically.
yeah, automatically. So someone deletes your backups automatically, but there's no alert for your IT stuff.
Okay, guys, let's do. Yeah, I understand your point. So, any more questions? If you don't have any questions, I have another slide for you. Questions and comments, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
First of all, I think having to use version 8.4 in my day job entitles me to the price in the first place. But anyways, I also have a question which is not directly related to backups, but to using pgdump and pgrestore. So I was wondering if you have any recommendations on using pgdump and pgrestore or rather, if you have a hack for restoring a logical dump, like pgdump, to a different schema in either the same database or another database. In case like you want to change your schema name in between backups, or if you just save your data somewhere else. Like so far,
Yeah,
we're
just
doing
for
it
the
like
staging. That's what Valentin mentioned about for the staging. So you want to anonymize your data and want to rewrite tables and not restore some tables. So
What we wrote is a filter application that gets the SQL dump as yesterday in and kind of changed stream on out. And in the middle, we have a configuration file for this application, kind of, and that knows which tables should be dropped from the backup, which emails should be rewritten and anonymized, or kind of which fields should be kind of scrambled. So this way, we are kind of making it possible to create the staging environments for the developers from the live kind of system.
yeah,
So,
but currently we're doing just doing the pgdump, then doing the SAD, the SCD.
yeah, so we are doing it with the kind of several terabytes of dumps,
Yeah.
so it would be not so easy to do.
Exactly,
So
that's the point.
if you kind of dump it through, then kind of on the output you have relatively small. Of course, it's not petabytes.
No, let me guess, it's written in Perl.
No, it's written in Python.
Everything in Zalando is written in Python, come on.
Not everything, not everything.
Is it already open sourced or?
I don't think so. It's
But
from
maybe
the time,
tomorrow or next week.
it's from the times where we didn't open source much.
Okay.
Now we open source more or less everything.
So I expect to see a talk in Hamburg about this.
You have how it's talk now?
Come on, it's a nice title.
Actually, another
How to
comment.
prepare your staging environment.
Huh?
So talk about how to
Set
prepare
up,
the staging environments.
How to prepare the staging environments. Yeah. Another comment actually is the work that we are.
No.
You, sorry. No. Alexander is doing is the kind of he works on the making a protocol to extract the logical replication stream from the database and kind of rewrite it in JSON and dump it whatever destination you need. And what is also possible already to more or less make a backup of your database in the form of a JSON kind of documents. So this is also possible.
Single document.
A
single document.
It will be a single document. It will be consistent. Yeah, it's very
This
cool.
is already on GitHub, right?
This is already on GitHub. Yeah, this is already on GitHub.
Try testing Elasticsearch. Stress testing Elasticsearch.
Yeah, and if our talk is accepted on the Postgres conference in Europe, then we will be talking about the interface for Python, about to be able to process these things.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry for
No, that's fine.
hijacking your
No, that's fine.
cool application.
That's why it's a meetup.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you have another question, I think.
Yeah. Coming back to the snapshots of this wonderful EMC storage, is it really proven that all the data which you snapshot on a block level are really a consistent state of the database, which is when it's snapshot together with the transaction logs and all the blows and whistles on the file system?
Are you talking Postgres backups,
Yeah.
Postgres bugs or storage bugs?
Yeah, for instance, a virtual machine of a Postgres is get snapshot by VMware, EMC, whatever. Is it proven that being restored, it will fly further without any corruption? With lost transactions?
Yes.
I mean, it all depends on your kernel when your kernel is writing the data.
Yeah, exactly. That's the question.
Virtual machine can only store and restore whatever you have written to disk.
Yeah, but Postgres could say to the kernel, please store this now, I'm waiting.
Yeah. So the few things about this. So basically, a storage snapshot behaves completely identical, or not completely identical, but pretty similar to a server crash, because
Yes.
you just get the state on the disk at the time of the crash. Postgres now does data checksums to at least be able, or you can configure a data checksum, so you can at least spot corruptions on pages. So if the data on the disk doesn't actually resemble what Postgres thinks it should look like, but other than that, you should be. Huh?
And the only reaction on that would be to just run in circles and cry, "Ah, well, my data is corrupted."
Yeah. But yeah.
So you will know that it's corrupted.
If you are asking my opinion,
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you a technical answer, but I don't trust a solution which doesn't listen to Postgres.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I would do anything that Postgres does.
Yeah,
which
but
is
You know that
it's
VMware
not-
has Postgres integrated into the product.
I'm not, as I told you, I'm not saying they can't do this. They say they can do, but if you want 100%, like not 99.9999, I would just use the Postgres solution.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever the
But
solution is.
think of a data center having tens of virtual machines of customers who don't really care. For some other databases, I would install an agent which would say to the database, hey, hello, we are going to back up the whole virtual machine, please snapshot. And wait for me to say to continue. It would be something like that for Microsoft and VMware, vSphere, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Is it something similar for Postgres?
But
So,
why do you think it will not work? I mean, if it's just
I'm asking.
doesn't kind of
because you
I
said
think-
about corruption, right?
Yeah, I think the question is, have there been any major bugs in Postgres crash recovery in the last few stable versions? I can't remember too many bad ones, so it's fairly stable.
Okay,
If you do this with MySQL, you are definitely safe doing this with Postgres.
So the Postgres crash recovery is much more stable than, for example, the InnoDB crash recovery, which had some major issues in the past.
I didn't say a word about
Yeah,
this.
just
Okay,
to give you an
cool.
example, for software which isn't that well tested as Postgres. And the plethora of users using Postgres on really crappy hardware shakes out all the issues you can run into. Say for actual data corruption, the Postgres can't help you anymore if the data, the process is written doesn't match what's actual and landscape.
We are also using this EBS snapshots right now, right? And Speedo?
We now implemented both, I think, with Snapshot and with Wally.
So, and I know multiple companies completely relying on rotating storage backups for the backup solution, and it usually runs without a problem. Maybe Andreas also has some data points.
Yeah, check with that.
Okay. So I wouldn't recommend against it, but if you want to be 100% sure, use something that's using Postgres mechanisms, either pitch dump or.
Sure. But then you have to go back to bare metal on both sides. Doesn't help you.
I think 15 years before, someone asked Tom Lane, one of the major Postgres developer, the question was, how much do you trust Postgres? And his answer was, it depends on your kernel and hard disk.
Yeah.
Okay.
This day is a job.
Right. As long as you have the reliable storage. I mean, Postgres doesn't lose any committed transaction if the transaction log files are not corrupt.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that we suffer. Probably many people just feel the same thing. We have PG log directory, and then we have PGX log directory. When PG log fills up, some people also tend to delete the contents of PGX log. Right? Okay. And then we have PG logical, which is going to create more problems in the near future. Okay, everything starts with log. Anyway, so still, seriously, if we keep the consistency of the data files, in any case, from the Postgres point of view, like use rate, like very simple stuff, okay? Use rate, rate 1 or rate 10, whatever, for transaction log. Data files, keep the test the file systems, then test the backups. Then you'll probably not have any problems while bring your database. Okay? Again, for example, while you're restoring the database, one important thing is when we are talking about the file system level backup, you need to have all transaction logs from the beginning to the end.
Yep.
If one of them is deleted or corrupt, recovery will stop there.
Obviously.
Then still the answer is correct. It depends on your kernel and the hard disk. And Murphy.
And NFS.
And NFS, right. NFS. Any questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, one last question. When you do these regular backups with PG-based backup, and then keep the transaction log files, can you delete the old transaction logs prior to the point where you started with the base backup?
Barman and Bart does it automatically.
But you can. Yes. But you can delete them. Like
Yeah, of course you can delete them. Let's say if you are keeping 3 days of work backup, you in the 4th day remove the transaction logs which are more than 3 days old. This is what Barman does. Retention. So you can just save to delete. Any questions? Thanks for coming. Apologize for the previous meetup. I couldn't make it there, and thanks for Zalando for inviting us and hosting us, and hope to see you in the next meetup. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We plan to give the possibility to anybody who wants to do a lightning talk to use such a possibility. So if you want to use this possibility, please come up and talk about things that you want to talk about.
What app are you using for this slide?
I'm sorry?
What app are you using for this slide?
On my cell phone?
Yeah.
It is a LibreOffice Remote. I'm using Linux on my